Hello everyone and welcome back to Mega Man. In the last video we took on Gusman and Cutman, and we are now going to go and face Elec Man. Serial number DLN008. He's a robot that controls the voltage at a power plant. The stage that we are currently in is a power plant in and of itself. This robot is called Gabiole. These are low-lying spinning enemies that can't get destroyed by a buster shot. They have ability to detect you once you are on the same height as they are. The rolling cutter is one of the two weapons that can actually destroy the Gabiole. However, the buster shot can stun the Gabioles in place and they will freeze for a temporary period of time. Which means that it's up to you to platform as quickly as possible so you can get away from them. We've got another enemy coming up. These are called Watchers, a reconnaissance enemy that passes by the screen and shoots two electric beams from its eyes when a Mega Man is in front of it. If you can, try and avoid the Watchers coming up from the bottom and just worry about the ones coming down from the top. Elec Man stage is one of the two stages that introduces one of the most infamous mechanics in all of classic Mega Man games. The appearing blocks, also known as the button blocks, vanish blocks, disappearing footholds, or simply blocks. Groups of these blocks will show up in a pattern which you are required to memorize in order to traverse them. It's a reoccurring mechanic that shows up in some levels throughout the original Mega Man games. That being said, I kind of appreciate them in some sort of way. We've got some more Watchers here. They show up a lot here in this level in particular. They only show up in one more level and that's about it. I'm glad they don't show up very often in this game, because they're pretty annoying. If you let them ambush you, you get hit by one, you're going to highly likely get hit by another. If you get to a screen that has no enemies in this level, then highly likely Watcher is about to come up or down. So coming up, here's the reason why I opted to go after Gusman first, instead of going to Cutman. You need the super arm to break through this area so that you can grab this item. This item is called the Magnet Beam, and it creates platforms. This could be used for a plethora of different things that aren't necessarily required to beat the game, but there's a level that we're gonna get to once we finish fighting all the robots, all the industrial robots, and is going to require us to get the Magnet Beam sometime later on down the line. So defeating Gusman first before getting to Elec Man stage is probably the most optimal way to finish the game without having to backtrack. And this is actually the only game until Mega Man 4 that allows you to revisit levels again. Because for some reason the second and third games don't allow you to revisit levels, but we'll get to that some other time. That's a complaint for another day. That last section had a bunch of loose electrical surges that will come out of the blocks like this, rhythmically, and you have to time your jumps and ladder climbs in order to get past them. And of course we've got this guy, and thankfully the RNG was really good to me because I really did not want to die right there. Because this is honestly my least favorite level of all the industrial robots. Also, it really sucks climbing ladders, and this is definitely one of the reasons why. Because if I get hit by one of these electrical surges, I'm going to fall a couple of floors, or I'm probably going to die. Bad combination. So you have to be very careful trying to climb up here. So we have reached the boss room. This is Elec Man, and he is weak to the rolling cutter. he was being very kind to me. Getting hit by his thunder beam does just about the same amount of damage as getting smacked by Big Eye. It's one of the biggest reasons why people opt not to go after Elec Man first, because he is scary to deal with Buster only. The rolling cutter can deflect his thunder beam shots, and oddly enough, he's one of the two industrial robots that can actually suffer knockback after getting hit by a weapon. So next we're going after Iceman. Serial number DLN005. More on Iceman in a minute. This is Crazy Razy, a security guard enemy that fires a single shot at Mega Man. It will detach from his body and follow Mega Man if he tries to get around him, or if he only shoots the torso. A next new enemy is Pepe. Is a flying penguin that flies in a wave-like pattern, and they constantly appear. So you destroy one, and then another one immediately follows until you get out of the terrain where they constantly reappear. You also want to make sure to watch out for the gabioles and try not to fall where they are, because it's very easy to get hit by them if you end up where they are. So getting back to Iceman, he is a robot created for cold weather work. His weapon, Ice Slasher, can freeze anything in 200 degrees below zero. That is some powerful ice. So this would be the checkpoint of Iceman's stage. I'm gonna get rid of this gabiole because it's gonna be in the way for this block puzzle. At this point you should have the rolling cutter and the thunder beam, which are two really good weapons for taking out the gabiole. The rolling cutter was good for taking out the gabioles in I almost called him Thunder Man. Elec Man's stage, because they were already on top of platforms higher than you. But in the case of Iceman's stage, where the gabioles are already underneath you, the thunder beam comes in clutch here. Plus, aside from shooting straight forward, the thunder beam can also go upwards and downwards, as the electrical beams split into three. We've got one more block puzzle here, and this is probably the more difficult puzzle in the game. But as soon as you memorize the pattern and figure out what blocks you need to jump on, all you really need to do is figure out how to time your jumps, just so that you won't miss the blocks. Because sometimes you have to jump on blocks, and sometimes you have to slip off ice. So here I'm going to take advantage of the magnet beam, because these footholders right here, I really do not trust. You see how I fell down like a metal brick? This is because when you traverse on a thin platform that the game doesn't seem to read as a platform, you really start to fall like a brick. You remember those conveyor footholds in Gutsman stage? If you were to fall off of one of those, it would be as if you were constantly falling and never landed on anything. Whereas a solid platform like this, I would fall slowly and then speed up the higher the longer I'm in the air. Now I'm trying to use this pause trick glitch that this game is infamous for against Big Eye, but Big Eye is not really weak to the thunder beam, and I got very lucky and I almost jumped and got smacked by Big Eye, which would have been very bad. So here we are on our way to Iceman's room. These Pepe are easy to deal with. There's really no need to grab... There wasn't really any need to grab that weapon refill. I just figured, why not grab it? He's going to die in 3 hits anyway, after using the Thunder Beam. So there's really no point in me recharging, because I've got more than enough ammo. I was actually surprised at how much damage the Ice Slasher does. And one of the very unpolished things about this game is that bosses can still shoot their weapons, and their weapons will still attack you even after you destroy them. One time I was playing through this game, and I was fighting Cudman, and his rolling cutter was still on the screen, and it attacked me after I destroyed him. And then I ended up dying. Thanks for watching. See you in part 3, and God bless.